No, I am not dead yet. I've gotten a lot of questions about whether or not Bitcoin has broken origin line rules. I'm going to show you on this chart. TradingView very recently kind of messed up my lines a little bit, so I don't think they're going to be perfect, but I do have a couple of charts with origin lines, so let's go see what it... I haven't pre-planned any of this. I simply want to dive into it and show you where Bitcoin is per the origin line rule, since I've gotten a lot of comments on that. So the general idea about origin lines, even though these ones are pretty sloppy right now, because going across different timeframes, TradingView kind of messed it up, but they're fairly close. The general idea is that if you fall below an origin line and you confirm resistance on multiple timeframes, which it did as the 1 hour here and the daily here, then you have to touch the next line down before you can touch the next line up, this being the middle line it went under. So if it goes under this line before and it follows rejection rules, which it seemed like it did here, then before it ever touches this line, it has to touch this line first. Those are the rules. The rules have only been broken once. So even though these origin lines are a little sloppy right now because I just logged right in and on a different time frame and TradingView had messed it up, the rule has not technically been broken. But I mean, it essentially has. It really essentially has. Or perhaps my calculations of did the rules actually satisfy the need to touch this, were those initiated, I could have gone wrong there as well. But as of now, I mean, it's looking like it's kind of a shade of gray. It didn't technically break the rules, but it might as well have. I mean, it's pretty damn close. So let's go look on the... So that's my answer there. I got a question. Have the origin line rules been broken? I mean, on this chart, even though the lines are sloppy, I would say mostly yes. However, if this line's just a little too low, which it looks like it is, then okay, then we're kind of looking okay, but you know, I'm just moving lines to satisfy something. So I don't want to trust this line. Let me go to another chart. This one's cleaner. I'm going to go down to the 1 hour. Here's the origin line. It didn't get up to it. So, I mean, here, it's a little bit more than halfway from here to here, but it's not really that close. So on this, it has not broken the rule. So I think the sloppy origin lines on the other one kind of makes it look like it. But, you know, to be fair, this has gone up as much as is possible without actually breaking the rule. So it's literally flirting on the edges of making the rule a little bit less valuable because it extends the entire distance where it might as well have broken the rule. Does that make sense? And there aren't many cases of this. Really, the only other time it's done anything like this was Wyckoff, the end of Wyckoff, July 21st, 2021. In that area, it was supposed to hit an origin line down and it didn't, but in reality, it wasn't supposed to be that low anyway, because it was all a planned attack on Bitcoin as the stock market went. Past revelations have shown very clearly. So, but it did allow people to buy Bitcoin pretty low before it went up to 69. It was a good opportunity as well. That's the answer to the question. The origin line rules have not been broken. However, because origin lines are so far apart, these are macro plays, from a mid-term time frame play, it really wasn't super valuable because it went up forever when it's supposed to touch this line first. And you could have been waiting this whole time. Oh, it's got to touch this line. Oh, it's got to touch this line. And because of this, I mean, you could have been trying to do the wrong thing the entire time because the rules say that line must be hit, but it's doing all this before. How valuable is that rule? Especially when it's never behaved this way before. So I got to be a little honest. Yeah, it hasn't been broken yet, but the way Bitcoin's moving, it's snaking up and toying with breaking the rule, but not. It's like a child right now. You know, don't touch that button. And then they get like they put their finger right real close to it. I didn't touch it. I didn't. That's what's happening right now. So with that kid, you might as well spank that kid anyway for being a smartass, acting like they're breaking the rule, right? The rule is kind of pointless. You might as well whoop them anyway. So if you're a family who whoops. But the key is, if you whoop consistently, you don't have to whoop anymore because they realize they're going to get whooped and they don't break your rules. So anyway, that's my theory anyway. And so Bitcoin might as well have broken the rule anyway. And that is the answer. It's not the answer I wanted to give. I wanted to give an answer where, oh, origin lines were perfect. You know, you would have done perfectly, you know, but the rule hasn't been broken, but it's fairly useless at this point. Just like the kid almost touching the button. And this is the only one of 2 times in Bitcoin history where the origin line rules really weren't that valuable for an entire couple months here. But almost every other time, or actually every other time that Bitcoin has interacted with these origin lines, and this is the best fit bear line, by the way, the whole bear market fit in this channel. So this is a really cool chart if you want to see it. And again, I'm recording this for free YouTube as well during the stream. There you go. These aren't monthly candles. You can ignore that part. But this is what the origin lines look like when they're clean. This is the best fit bear line from the 64K top. Or here's the 69, but it actually started with the 64. And the entire time, Bitcoin lived its life in there. So let's zoom in to see what's happening. I'll go to the 12-hour. Rejection, failure pattern, failure pattern, failure pattern, low, higher low to that higher low. Blasted above, came back down, hit 20K, under 20K actually. Did not use this as support. That's kind of weird. And took out that low and that low. So that was a bear trap. So all of this price action from here to here, now that we have hindsight 2020 vision, all from here to here was a bear trap. None of this was, all of this was, it looks like it was clearly planned. So price really was gonna blast off from there or just continue bouncing, but there must have been big orders to fill, big liquidation numbers down there. So probably whale exchanges just drove it down, liquidated some folks, and then took on longs themselves there on other exchanges, and bam. That's what that looks like. So this was actually a bear trap. This was not a bull trap. That was a bear trap, and this was the whole move. That is what the story is being told here. And when Bitcoin went straight to 21K the first time, you can go back to my channel around Friday, January 13th. I mentioned you will have between 2 to 4 more local highs, higher local highs, 2 to 4 on that, like in this area. It might have been the 13th, 14th, 15th, I don't know when, but it was after this massive pump. And I expressed, don't short, don't short. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've had 4. So 2, 5. This is a powerful move. And then it corrected. Oh, it must have wanted to reset. You know what? This might not have been a bear trap. It might have had to reset some indicators to recruit more buyers. Hold on. That might not be the right story. I apologize. What did the daily RSI do there? No, it did go pretty low. Yeah, that was a bear trap. I was going to say, if it perfectly came to this red zone and bounced, that would actually be natural. It'd be more of a recruitment of buyers to reset some indicators, but this was a clear, yeah, that was a planned bear trap. Wow. Interesting. And I was kind of thinking this was a bull trap up to there, up to 25. But nope, it was still going. Because it had, like I said, 1, 2, 3, and it hit 4. I thought that was it. And it was a perfect failure pattern above the best fit channel line, but that guess was totally wrong. So I biffed that pretty bad. It was the opposite. It wasn't a bull trap. What I was seeing was a bear trap. So I got that part backwards. But then again, you know, if you're making guesses all the time and that's all you do, you know, you could still be the best predictor of things in the world. But because you're predicting so much, you will also have more bad predictions than anybody else because you're predicting more. However, you could still be the best predictor, also have the most bad predictions simultaneously, if that makes any sense. Well, it does make sense, but hopefully you could rewind that. And I think Elon Musk actually said that. I think I stole that from him. I'm pretty sure he said that in an interview. Where is price going now? I'm going to take it to a different chart. This is the index chart. I have a different different set of sexiness on here. So I'm going to go to the 4 hour, I believe. And now let's look at it this way. So now you have 3 different ways of looking at this. Different channels, you know, kind of trying to get a perspective of what is big money thinking, or just what is Bitcoin price thinking. So if there's any one channel that might be really valuable to you to copy, I think it would be this one. This is my favorite chart right now of Bitcoin. I think yeah, it covers the whole calendar year so far. So this is November of last year. This is Thanksgiving. Over here. And Bitcoin has been in this the entire time, and it's coming up to this macro horizontal. Look left. What is it? Well, it's actually its first obstacle, right? All of this is a potential bottoming formation, big W. So this is its first obstacle. And right now it's at the very, very, very top of it. I'm not counting these wick highs as that. I'm going to count this as dead zone up here. But above this wick high, you get another box. So I think if you can look at Bitcoin in one way, for, I would say, not micro time frame. So if you're trading 5-minute candles and under, what I'm about to say is not for you necessarily to try to make, you know, to try to make a sound judgment with. But any longer time frames, what I'm about to say, I think it might be the right way to look at it. Let's say this was the bottom, okay? Let's say you're rooting for the bottom, or let's say you don't think so, or you don't know. Just think of the idea, is the bottom in? In that idea, if it is, this is the whole bottoming formation, and this is its first structural obstacle. Since the entire calendar year in its ascent up, it's been perfectly inside of this channel. So therefore, once it breaks down out of the channel, and if Bitcoin can hold on and break down from this simultaneously, for example, extend this guy. Let me do this. So for example, if Bitcoin simply hangs out and doesn't really do a lot, just floats around with the stock market potentially, look what could happen here. So this is not what I'm predicting necessarily. I want you to watch out for this. So you see how this horizontal's behind here? All right, now I'm going to make it disappear. Watch. So it's possible that Bitcoin just, you know, it just acts like it's going to break out of this multiple times. And then it settles back down on this horizontal right when this intersects. So what would that be? Because a lot of people in my community are saying July or June to July dump. I thought it was going to be May or February. And May still has a chance, but it kind of looks like it's not going to happen. I think it's going to be June, July. So I don't know what month this is yet, but if you think about it, it just kind of holds on to the point of control, then doesn't try to touch the top of this channel anymore, rather starts getting rejected by this. So it comes down, bases out, can't get above this, goes below the point of control, bam, 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 but it still looks strong, right? That's still 28.5, right? Still very strong. And then it falls out of both of them simultaneously. You could get some really nasty stuff. And what date is that? That's June 12th. So these lines intersect. Honestly, that could be exactly what happens. This has a decent chance of happening almost exactly like, you know, within 48 hours of that date. This is how I essentially timed within 48 hours the 2018 dump. It was similar stuff. But I used the weekly 89 and the weekly 10 EMAs very specifically. Here I'm doing a little bit different stuff, but it's all about angles and squeezing and extruding price in a way that it just must go. It's like an extrusion, essentially. So it can't get above this line, let's say, or it does flirt with it, but goes below it, stays above the point of control, then bumps its head on this, stays under the point of control, falls out of both simultaneously, right around 27, right at 28K even. So 28K even. If Bitcoin goes below there, after May, it's going to be a big deal. But if it goes below 28K before May, not a big deal. Hell, it just did it, and it bounced. Look. Okay, get up one more time, lower high, then fall out. Okay. But so if it falls down here below 28K before May, I think it's just going to get a damn good bounce. And you're going to have more time to trade in this channel. But if Bitcoin can hold on and begin using this exact level as resistance, 30,600 or so, if it can't get over there, then it's going to start using channel lines as resistance. Then that will be double resistance, and it'll probably get trapped. It'll probably get trapped over the long term. So if it goes sideways slowly, that's probably worse for Bitcoin. Usually that's good, but this is saying it would be bad. Right now, this is saying it would be better for Bitcoin to do one of these again, a very volatile one, and it would not be bearish. I'm telling you, it would not be bearish yet. This is really tricky price action, everybody. This is very difficult stuff. I mean, take a look at this. Like, really, if you have done nothing the last 2 months, you're probably going to be better off. Here, let me show you why. Look how difficult this has been. This has been a really hard time to trade like strictly Bitcoin or even altcoins, because altcoins don't have any liquidity and they just flap wherever they go to stop everybody out. It's not even real price action. Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's pretty much, it's good. But check this out. Look at this. Watch. Look how difficult this is. Honestly, right now in crypto, doing absolutely nothing is probably your best friend. That's a 5% range. So starting here, 5% range over 12 days. See how it says 12 days up here? So 12 days of just chopping around. Almost nothing to do. Because you can't predict before this that it was going to be a 5% range exactly, because it was all volatile all over the place. Then it just goes bam, then turns into a heartbeat, right? And there's nothing to do. And then, look, you only had 2 points where big money bought. 1, 2. Everything else is sideways chop. And how much moments, or how long of that was a good usage. That was a good word choice, Tim. How long did you have? 30 minutes. Look how freaking difficult this is, everybody. Look, 4 hours. So out of 12 days of sideways chop, untradeable price action, you had a 30-minute window. And then, I mean, really, realistically, it's even smaller because that, and you had a 15-minute window of where all the buying was that got price up here. That's where the money was made, right here and right here, nowhere else. Everything else is chop. So 12 days of waiting, then 30 minutes and 15 minutes, and it's done. Then it's just floating. Do you see that? Like, that is some really serious stuff. So, and I have not been trying to trade. I have been trying to figure out what leverage factor I like the most with my 1 minute trading style. I've had to pay to play a little bit, but in that, however, I'm trying to figure out how is there a way to play this chop? I have not really figured it out. If you go sideways 11 days and then have 30 minutes and 15 minutes. So I have really not attempted to trade since I gave up on it right here. I think in my community, I said, you know what? This is stuck in a 5% range. I'm done until it's out of this box. But once it was out of the box, I missed it. I didn't catch this. Like, I had no reason to think it was going to do this. On my chart, at least. Perhaps another chart would have shown this as support. I don't know. But this one way to look at Bitcoin, even if I did expect it, if I weren't in my desk, at my desk in those 15 minutes or that first 30 minutes and I missed it, right? I might have been taking a crap. So Bitcoin has been exceptionally difficult to trade. And remember, if you are trading altcoins on futures, you realize that the liquidity is so low. There's, think of it. If you're trading Gala, for example, on KuCoin futures, not spot, okay, you're using leverage. For example, in whatever moment of time on that exchange, okay, all the other exchanges don't matter because the futures on one exchange is that exchange's IOUs. So the price of that future technically could get extremely separated from the true price. It is a different order book. It can be twice the value as the real Gala. It's possible. But you have arbitrage bots driving that back, keeping everything in check. However, in a bear market, if you're trying to trade those IOUs, at any moment in time, like let's say 𝐃𝐤𝐬𝐜𝐸, for example, like I said earlier, there are probably fewer than 100 humans at any time trading 𝐃𝐤𝐬𝐜𝐸, for example, on KuCoin futures, or even Binance, probably. There are probably fewer than 100 humans staring at that chart, trading that same altcoin. Now, if you're talking about BNB or Ethereum, okay, probably several thousand. I would assume it's a lot more. But the vast majority of altcoins, if you're trying to trade them on futures, you're literally just putting your money in a slot machine because you can have the best setup. You can have the best you can have all of your edges. But before the move goes, I don't know who the blame is, but it'll just go, if you get put on a big enough position to become a target, which usually with 20x, just $1,000 will do it because there's no one trading it. If the move goes up, it'll go get you out. So whether you have a liquidation or a stop, doesn't matter. If it's a liquidation, it'll just go deeper. And it sometimes will happen on a 1-minute wick or a 5-minute wick. It'll get you out, then go the direction that you knew was probable. It's almost pointless to try to trade shitcoins right now, people, on leverage. Now, there are exceptions. If you are learning or practicing trading with like $100 and 5x or $100 on 20x or something on 𝐃𝐤𝐬𝐜𝐸 or OP or I don't know, just whatever. Curve, engine, doesn't matter. Algo. If you're doing small amounts to try to get your golf swings in for practice, that's typically not enough money to become a target. And you'll see that, and we've done this all over the community. Like we have confirmed this beyond a reasonable doubt. If you cross a threshold, you become a target and you can't trade that coin anymore with success. But if you lower the amount, you don't become a target and it doesn't go get your stuff. And you can just have a winning streak after winning streak after winning streak. And it's essentially like a carrot. Yeah, okay, put more money in. And once you do, boom, that's when it all changes. I'm telling you. So if I can, here, let me make myself big. And again, I apologize. I'm down to one screen. My favorite cat, my oldest cat broke my monitor, I think. But I can't get mad at him. He's like 12 years old. And it was my dumbass fault for letting him in my office. And I didn't think he would jump on my monitor. Like, why would a cat do that? I don't. Gosh. So if I can say anything to you right now, now is a great time to lose a lot of money if you're trying leverage on altcoins. It is completely pointless. There are some exceptions. I've had decent luck with Matic. What's the other one I had luck with? Like I can throw, bigger numbers. I can have like a $30,000 position after leverage. I'm not throwing $30,000 of my own cash at an altcoin. But I've had, maybe $1,000 with 30x or 25x, so $20,000 position, and I didn't become a target. But if you have after leverage, so you multiply your actual money times the leverage, if you have something upwards of 10K after leverage, right? So that's $500 on 20x. And actually lower than that, everybody. It's more like $500 on 5x on some of these coins. It will become untradeable for you. There is a clear threshold, actually, I'll take that back. There is an unclear threshold. I don't know what that threshold is, but there is a threshold, and they're different for other coins. And if that's not something you've thought about, just realize that is all the reason why. There aren't real people trading that stuff, the IOUs. If you go to spot, yes, there are more people doing that because people are DCAing. There's real buy pressure there, right? But if you're trading the IOUs, it's a totally different market. It's not the same thing. When you hit buy or sell on futures, it does not touch that price of spot. Only the arbitrage bots would, all right? So if there are any big bad days within the exchanges, they can rip through order books much more easily because there are no humans trading it. So all the orders in there are fake. It's not real orders, everybody. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Matic, I I haven't had any bad luck. I've had large 5-digit positions on Matic with no problem, and that's on BitGet. But it doesn't matter which exchange you're on. It doesn't matter if it's Bybit, BitGet, KuCoin. I'm not speaking badly of KuCoin. I like KuCoin, but well, I did at least. It's all exchanges, everybody. Binance, it doesn't matter. The smaller the coin you have that you're trying to trade, the smaller the market cap, not the price, not the dollar price. The market cap is the only thing that matters. The smaller the market cap, and if you're trying to trade that on futures, the more you're wasting your money in the bear market. I'm telling you right now. So, and we've recently kind of essentially confirmed this. It's been obvious for a while, but it's almost beyond confirmation. So if you've been trying to practice, realize that that is essentially the difference. You can have a winning streak on small amounts of money on these shit coins, but once you cross that threshold, wherever that is, they'll just go get you and you can't trade anymore. So remember that. But other than that, Bitcoin, I think there are three major options to summarize. One is just simply continuation up. Honestly, right now, it kind of looks like that's probably what's going to happen as of now. So the probabilities could change pretty quickly because I think Bitcoin could come all the way down here and keep breaking out the 40 and break origin line rules. And as of, I need to make myself small, don't I? So honestly, something like this is probably one of the best options. And then you can have other variants of this where it only goes down to this, and then you connect it, and it's almost the same stuff. So let's call those the same variant. You have some type of pullback, and you break out of this line, but perhaps you stay within the channel line and do a failure pattern above to hit 40K. Actually, this is a pretty damn good option. So this isn't my favorite option, but I have to admit it probably is the most probable, which means it probably should be my favorite. But I just don't want Bitcoin to go that high, because then it probably will have bottomed, and I had the wrong game plan. But I think it's the most probable, unfortunately. What I don't want is probably the most probable. So if I extend this, you can see that this is a failure pattern above this. Yeah. See that? That's a perfect failure pattern above, clear breakout of this line. That's option one. And that would take us to, so it'd take about a month to go down, 20% drop, or a 12% drop over the course of about 20 days. So that's the rest of April. And then May, you get the nice bounce for another 20 days. And that takes you to June, in which then whatever pullback or drop would start happening. So in this case, it would also align with June with the drop. I think my favorite one is it doesn't break. So this is not the most probable. My favorite is not the most probable at all. Actually, it's probably not. Yeah, this is but if it can go sideways here, do a general failure pattern above this line. So that means there's a triangle here. Let me show you. So you got to focus on this line behind it, right? Let me make this a little less opaque. There we go. See that? All right, now you have a triangle. My favorite option for Bitcoin over the next couple months is this. It just gets stuck in some general triangle, never breaks out of this, but doesn't keep going, like not a true breakout above this. Anything above this line here is a failure pattern. So really, this is probably too big. Yeah, that's another month of general upwards. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I think that, man, so my favorite one is by the middle of May, that the top of this rally will have been put in, because it would be a general failure pattern above this, and then it gets stuck, and then it tanks down sometime in June, July. That says June 18th. Exactly June 18th right there. So this is my favorite option. Perhaps the second most probable. Continuation to 40K honestly looks the most probable at this point. All right. And then, and again, but probabilities can change. So when do probabilities change, Tim? Well, really, when this line right here is broken, or this line right here is broken. That's when you get some clear probability flips. And that is how I'm looking at Bitcoin right. Oh, the third option is it breaks down from here and goes under this line rather quickly as opposed to June something. So it breaks 28K and does not get back above. So that's my third idea, is that it gets stuck below here, then uses these both as resistance, flirts with it, and then gets stuck in this triangle right here. So kind of like the inverse of this thing. Would have been easier just to make a new triangle, but get stuck in that guy, specifically under this, right? But still using this as support. Support, but resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, extruded out. And that would happen right at 28K. So 28K as resistance would be the most bearish one. But honestly, that would still probably take a while. I don't think it would be under 28K hitting its head on it until May 1st. I really don't see 28K being used as resistance until May 1st. Or around May 1st. Late April, early May. So I think Bitcoin's going to hang out here for a while, which also why I think it's most probable it just keeps going. I don't see a world in which this just tanks. I can't see it right now, everybody. So if you're trying to go short, I would not be looking for big shorts. You know, perhaps as much as 12%. Yeah, a good 12% down to the point of control right here. Okay, maybe. But if you're trying to be short this whole time, which is probably not the best idea, but if you were to catch it, I don't think you can catch anything bigger than a 12% move on Bitcoin on the first pass until it then forms a lower high and then gets pooped out. And that is Bitcoin price for you.